Hello and thanks for joining us for Sustaining Us here on KLCS PBS. I'm David Nazar. What is a good education worth these days? In this case, the academic skills that can empower our youth to succeed here in the U.S. and have the opportunity for a good future. Often this can begin with a good high school curriculum, then a 2- or 4-year college degree, or an even more ambitious goal of higher ed. For some, this formula is easy to achieve. For others, there are obstacles and challenges that can prevent youngsters from getting the education they deserve. However, what if there were a new type of school that gave everybody, all students from all backgrounds and all walks of life, a new opportunity to succeed, no matter what their zip code or their socioeconomic status? And that is where we begin our broadcast. This is the intersection of Vermont and Manchester in South Los Angeles, an intersection with a complicated history. In 1992, after the Rodney King verdict, thousands of angry residents took to these streets in what is commonly known as the LA riots. Well, decades later, parts of this South LA neighborhood are still somewhat of a wasteland. Abandoned stores, empty lots, blighted streets and sidewalks. Over the years, many real estate developers, business interests, companies, they ignored this neglected area. A lot of promises that ultimately never really materialize. Well, some of that is about to change, or at least on Vermont and Manchester. A new school is being built out here. Not just any school. This is going to be Seed LA, an urban public boarding school like never witnessed before in Southern California. A college preparatory curriculum based upon things like science, technology, engineering, the arts, mathematics, transportation, the humanities, and life skills. A boarding school for a community of kids that might otherwise not have had this option. Seed LA is just the 4th school of its kind in the nation to be part of this unique and innovative education project, joining the Seed School of Washington, D.C., the Seed School of Maryland, and the Seed School of Miami. This is a public school, 100% free. The money for Seed LA is courtesy of a public-private partnership that includes some very generous philanthropists, tax credits, help from LA Metro, the City of LA, and the County of Los Angeles. SEED is an acronym for Schools for Educational Evolution and Development. 400 students beginning in 9th grade are going to eventually live here on campus 5 days a week in a 24-hour learning environment. LA County Supervisor Holly Mitchell helped bring SEED to Los Angeles.
My predecessor actually began the process of looking at what it would look like to have a publicly funded public-private partnership, if you will, for a boarding school right in the middle of South LA. A boarding school that would help train our future leaders in STEM, in technology, in transportation, in the humanities. And a boarding school, unlike as a West Coast girl, born and raised, was really truly available to all, including kids in LA County who may be systems touched, either touched by our juvenile detention system, our child welfare services, our foster care system, or if they have a parent who's been systems touched. So that's a population I think that you don't think, who don't believe that they really have access to a boarding school education.
Mitchell represents the 2nd Supervisorial District of Los Angeles and several parts of unincorporated LA County. Supervisor Mitchell says her district is kind of a microcosm of the landscape of California with what she says is one of the most diverse electoral and socioeconomic districts in the entire U.S. Supervisor Mitchell knew this was a community that desperately needed an education option like the SEED School.
I was also taken by really the focus of SEED in terms of the kinds of students that they are nurturing. The kinds of families that are attracted to their model of boarding school education. And so it's a unique space in South LA. The actual footprint where the campus will be has interesting history for Angelenos. It's a intersection that was directly impacted by the 1992 uprising. It's an intersection that has been vacant since then, so it's a constant reminder of a sense of loss in our community. It's a piece of property that the community has been promised over and over again was going to be an asset, and there have been ribbon cuttings and promises that were unkept. So to think about that physical land and what this amazing new benefit will be I think will say a lot to the residents of South Los Angeles, that it is going to become a space, a nurturing space for all of LA County's kids to be able to see their way to a future.
Sofia Echeverria has found a way to her future. After a road well traveled, Sofia spent much of her childhood in crime-ridden Washington, D.C. in the 90s, where much of the D.C. school system ranked near lowest in the nation. And yet, Sofia eventually graduated from SEED, Washington, D.C. She talks about her journey.
It wasn't until I was maybe 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old, that I began to realize that my parents didn't have a good marriage. And a lot later, I learned that my father was still dealing with addiction, with crack. And that's something that my parents fought over, and it caused a lot of strife in their relationship, and it ended up bleeding over into our family lives.
When Sofia was in the 6th grade, her life was about to dramatically change for the better.
We had two visitors come to my elementary school, West Elementary School in Washington, D.C. And they told us that they were starting a new school and that it was going to be the first public charter boarding school in the country. And I didn't really know what a charter school was, but I knew what a boarding school was.
However, after Sofia's mom learned more about the program and even attended an information session with the SEED school, she was convinced this was the best decision for Sofia to be part of this new and innovative SEED program, although there was now the process of being selected.
Then there was a lottery later that year. This is back in 1998. And I think I was number 13 in the lottery, and my number got pulled.
The luckiest number in the world for Sofia. Her life changed forever. And most critical in all this was the idea instilled into Sofia and her SEED classmates that higher education was the probability.
The biggest change I saw in myself while attending SEED was that, so no one in my immediate family had gone to college or university or kind of really completed any education past high school. And it's not that I didn't think I couldn't go to college. It was more so that I began to feel like I'm supposed to go to college.
A goal realized. This once troubled inner city girl from the tough streets of Washington, D.C., now an amazing young woman, was accepted to one of the best universities in the nation, Princeton.
Today, I am the alumni representative to the board of the SEED School of Los Angeles, and it's the inaugural board, and I really feel like everything has come full circle, and I'm so glad to take all of my experiences that I had as a student when I was at SEED when I was younger, and to have those experiences mean something that constructs an even better experience for this crop of students.
Ruth Stalford is the chair of the SEED School of Los Angeles County Board of Directors.
Everyone understands academics, right? You know, everyone understands math, English, science, all of those kinds of things. But to really reach your potential, you need to be able to fire on all cylinders, and that's what life skills are.
Ruth says she had heard about this great program in Washington, D.C., the nation's first urban public boarding school.
So there is a robust program around restorative justice, around resolving conflict, which is very, very important. And also just being able to have informed discourse, right? And to be able to sort of dial back some of the temperature that is out there, right? So that we can discuss things in a way that allows us to actually solve problems.
SEED definitely invested in Sofia.
Regardless of the circumstances that we may have been born into, we have every right to possibility. You deserve a chance. You deserve an opportunity to see how far you can go. So why not take advantage of as many resources as you can to see what you can do with yourself?